Should we do the refuge and bodhicitta first? Should we do the whole thing?
No, it's okay.
Just the Heart Sutra? Okay. All together? Thus have I heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha at Lodrö Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound perfection of wisdom, saw in this way. He saw the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to noble Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? Addressed in this way, noble Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom should see in this way, seeing the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, since information and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no eye element up to no mind element, no element of dharmas, no mind consciousness element, no ignorance, no cessation of ignorance, up to no old age and death, cessation of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of the perfection of wisdom. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the 3 times, by means of the perfection of wisdom, fully awakened to unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, should be known as truth, since there is no deception. The perfection of wisdom mantra is said in this way. Om Gate Gate Pada Samgate Bodhi Swaha. Thus Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised noble Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Good, O son of noble family, thus it is. O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the whole assembly in the world, with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One.
Okay. So now you start the questions. Whatever you have the confusion or doubt about anything related to Dharma.
Well, I still have the questions from yesterday. If there's no atta, no self, then what enlightens, what comes back. As somebody else said, what is the storehouse of cause and effect?
Okay. Did I answer for according to somebody else? If yes, this person answer now. If not, then I have to repeat again.
I mean, you answered another day, but not here.
Huh? No? So, when we say karma, everything what we say, we're talking about only relative level. Which means without analyzing. We're talking about without pinpoint. So that is all everything in the relative level, not the ultimate level. So when we analyze like these five logics, that kind of analyzing, we try to understand the ultimate truth. But you not necessarily understand ultimate truth in that way, but you definitely see some problems, the instability of the all the existence we think usually truly exists. But this all only relative level, basically. So you don't need even concern karma is truly exist or not. You don't need even concern there is a storehouse or not, because it affects you, your memory, your habitual patterns, your habitual tendencies. Is it affect you? Is it affect others? It's also obvious. So you have to think a similar way, the law of karma. And something, we only that can go deeper and wider. But the very similar way, or logic. In good way is benefit your education, your knowledge, helps you in many ways. And your bad habit tendencies also harms you a lot. It's so simple. When we say no self, no this, no I, no everything, we're not talking about, there is no me, so I'm not going to eat today, I'm not going to drive home. We're not talking about that. The same time you can drive home, you can have a nice dinner, you can have a nice sleep, whatever you want to do. These all things we do without analyzing. Because this is absolutely different level of truth. Yeah, I told you many times, the most of the confusion, people are mixing these two truths. Remember? So don't mix two truths, no problem. But when we talking about the karmic storehouse, we only talking about relative level. Nothing to do with ultimate level. Ultimate level, karmic store also not exist. And karma itself also not exist. And Buddha is not exist. Buddha's teaching is not exist. Yourself is not exist. Reached enlightenment also not exist. So what is the problem? There's no exception. Because different level of truth. Okay? What do you say? Is this is any answer? Or you not satisfied answer? If you're not satisfied answer, you just tell, be honest. You don't have to hesitate at all. If I just run out, I say I'll run out.
One strategy which doesn't seem a good one is to abide in relative truth, because then you don't get a contradiction and confusion. But I think for a practitioner, the question flips around and you say, how can I abide in ultimate truth? Is that a practical question?
How can I abide in ultimate truth? Abide means reaching, right?
Abide. Rest in Buddha nature.
Live in that space.
Live in that space. Rest.
Depend who you are and where you at. Not one answer for everybody. Okay? Remember, different karmic origin. All is not true at all, but at the same time, we share in many things. We share in the similarity. At the same time, we have very different opinions and different versions, different experience from one object. So that's why how I abide in my Buddha nature, there is many instructions, but which one works for you is depending what your connection. Where is your connection? And where you at? But the good thing is, even not truly exist, this all samsara, all relative truth, there is distinguish virtues and non-virtues. So the most important, I always increase in focus on my virtues and decrease my non-virtues. Thoughts, attitude, action, behavior. But basically, our perception, motivation, attitude, if you focus that, your behavior follows. So, that make more closer and closer your Buddha nature. That's definitely. For instance, if we have some knowledge about a dream, and then we have some practice of the dream, then your nightmare, you can wake up from the nightmare. As before I said. Or sometimes you can transform your dream in the dream. So either way, you stop in that suffering. That doesn't mean you are burdened with Buddha nature yet. But Buddha nature, if you really burden, then it's like wake up. But this wake up come from is dream practice. Same as if we work in the relative world, working on virtues way, it will wake up from this. And you can have glimpse of Buddha nature, but also one day you can have full understanding, full realization of Buddha nature. So that is only way you have to work at a relative level. First, so many people misunderstanding, another way of misunderstanding, they say, oh, all is not true, or, all virtue is not true, no virtue is not true, Buddha never come, Dharma never there exist. So what is the point of practice? I don't want to practice illusionary Dharma practice. That big mistake. Why? Because the relative truth is the ultimate truth for you now. The ultimate truth is for you unknowing. So you have to work what you have now. When you work with what you have now, then one day you get what you don't have now. Same thing. If you want to really reach biryanis, you have to work with your money you have now, only 1,000 or 100 or whatever you have. You have to work from that. Right? You can't deny that, throw away. So same thing. Another correction, example, the analogies. If we need fire, we don't have fire, what do we do? We wrap in two woods very fast. If the wood is really dry enough, you are fast wrapping enough, then fire comes. But what fire do? Burn the whole wood. Fire come from the wood and finish it. Burn out the wood itself. So same thing. All our practice, everything come from samsara, come from relative truth, but one day burn itself. One day finish, basically. You can use that way, or you can say waken up, or you can say, you say waken up from the dream, your dream practices, and then you waken up from the dream. Or you can say, this fire, it burn itself. Whichever analogy you like to use. The main point, you have to work in with the relative truth to reach the ultimate truth. There's no other way. There is no magic pill. You turn and turn off. Turn off samsara and abandon Buddha nature. There is no magic for everybody. But for some people, it's almost like magic because you already working on it long time ago. Yeah. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. What else? What is encouraging or what is discouraging? When you practice Dharma, you study Dharma, what are the obstacles that come to you? Huh?
Losing your energy or something like this, like physically losing energy, you have to regain your energy to do practice well.
You mean too tired?
Tired, yeah. Get tired.
You tired?
Yeah.
You tired because you did many other things.
Then how do you balance doing everything in the world yourself? with no other assistance.
Have you ever had, you didn't do nothing else, only do Dharma and then tired, exhausted?
No.
No, that's the problem.
But then, what do you do? You just sell your house and give up on your life and say, that's enough, I just want to do Dharma only?
Yeah, the house important or enlightenment important?
Well, you have to have a place to practice.
Say, don't say enlightenment, Buddhahood, don't say straight away. Just say, let's say, important to have enough confidence the death. No worries at all, death comes, no worries at all. Okay, time to go.
Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, cha-cha. Is that important or we have 2 houses, 5 children?
I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying.
Which one is important?
A place to live. Okay. You need a place to
You know, you don't have to tell other people what is important, but you have to question yourself, which one is more important. You know, that's all.
Well, the other question is,
It's logically the death is more important. Why? Because death is certain, but the time is not uncertain, and the death is part of you.
of course,
It's a circle of yourself.
you die every day.
And the house and money and family relationship, everything is nothing to do with you. Only temporary guest.
Right. Hotels.
Let's say you are traveling, you meet many people in the airport, and they are nice people, you have good conversation, but still, is this person is important for you or your passport and ticket? Definitely the passport and ticket you keep. You know, means that this person give you telephone number, is that important you throw away passport? or no, first my passport. After that I get telephone or something, email or something, it's okay. Right? So similar, we know how to survive very well, but do we know how to deal with death? Do we know how to deal with pardon? Usually we don't even know what it is to deal. Forget about to deal with. We don't even know what it is really will happen. But first you have to have knowledge of what will happen. Then second, you have to know how to prepare. And better. We're always looking for better, remember? Otherwise, really, what Eckhart Tolle said is, you just be in the present, nothing else. Don't worry about death. Don't worry about future. Don't worry about mortgage, anything, loans, and just be present. Your loan will be fine. Just be present. So you can choose that one. Just every moment be present and prepare nothing for future, no plans, no responsibility. You choose this or you want try to be responsible.
So I have another question. In our country today, we have many issues that have arisen in the last 2+ years. And how can we try to shift into more positive state like we had before for the world and the harmonious relationships between all of these people and these things, and how can we in our knowledge base of practice assist in that shift, transformation back into a state of more balance with climate change and these things?
I put that last priority.
Does that mean we should not even take care?
No, you can take care, but last priority. Do you know why? First, you prioritize yourself. How I deal with my own problems, my own death, my own burden, how I to journey better this precious human life. I'm talking about a practitioner level, okay? Practitioner point of view. This precious human birth is incredible hard to find and so easy to lose. So how I can take the essence first? That's number one priority. Our country's problem is your sharing karma. Your sharing karma, only you can contribute, you can't control. Because the other people's karma involved. So that's why last priority is not last priority because you want to be selfish. It's not the reason. The reason is because it's not under your control.
Collective.
You only can contribute if you are really capable. Right? So that's why if you all our life mistakes is we prioritize wrong way. Prioritize something is achievable, something make differences, you should prioritize first. The benefits and achievable, you prioritize. Something necessary, beneficial, possible. But usually we emphasize unnecessary, not necessarily beneficial, and maybe not possible. Hence we waste a lot of energy and time. It sounds true. Yes. So that's why I think many people don't understand. There's one thing people don't trouble to understand. In Australia, sometimes I say my students, go to other people's class, go to other people's meditation, go there, try to have experience. Some lamas say they don't go other people's teachings, but I say go. But people lazy, don't go usually. So one time, my student went, I said go, and went to somebody's class. One Australian, I think teach meditation, and he said he's smoking. He said, I don't understand this Tibetan Buddhist. They just run in the cave. They shouldn't run in a cave. We need a lot of help.
They just what?
Stay in caves.
They run into the caves.
Run into the caves.
Yes, they should not run in a cave. We need a lot of help. They are not helpful. They are selfish because they are running into caves. So this I want to explain. This is, I think many people have trouble to understand why they run in our caves. Because Tibetans think, oh, somebody running in the caves, they think, oh, wow, fantastic. So we have singing, we are singing, say, oh, the best Lama stay in the cave, stay in the, rock. The second best, they stay on monastery. The worst ones, they go everywhere. Maybe I'm the worst one. Because I'm not staying in monastery. They say this, But I want to try to explain why Tibetans think the running into the cave is the best. Because they prioritize something you can manage it. Huh?
Would you repeat that, please?
Because they prioritize something you can have the control. Huh? So this is your choice. You run in a cave, regardless you have 10 children or 3 wives.
Who takes care of these 10 children and 3
Huh?
wives?
Even you have 10 children and 3 wives, I would say still is, if you really have the renunciation, you have the right to go to the cave. Do you know why? If didn't, then Buddha, he did very, very wrong. Why? Because Buddha, at the Tibetan tradition teachers said that he has 36,000, not wives, what do you call?
Consort.
Concubines, or what do you call?
Consort.
Huh?
Consorts.
Not consort,
No.
concubines, I think. Concubines or whatever you call. But this is we don't know is it true or not true, but the true is he has a wife and son, and his father is dying for he be the future king. So that is, I think, not bigger than something normal people have some family. Its responsible is bigger. So that means I'm sure millions, nation people crying have the future king. And he reject that, So normal families, you have 10 children. Yes, I understand, like in one ways, oh, you are so bad, you didn't take a rest. You make 10 children, but you didn't take responsibility. You married 3 wives, but you lied to them. you sweat with a barber or whatever. You are very bad. I understand that. I understand that point of view fully. I understand fully. But one way, does your children can control your death? Does your wife, children can control your pardon? Does they can do anything for your rebirth? No. And also, yes, first you thought you need children. Whatever you made decision. But after you change your mind, it's impermanent. Everybody can change minds. As long as you are sincere. As long as you are sincere, it is acceptable. But if you just run it out, you don't want to take responsibilities, only you just want to relax and you don't have very serious, you just run away. That's different. Run away from the samsaric values, or running away, you cannot cope with samsara problems. Very different. Can you see different? Very, very big, huge difference, okay? I want to repeat. You cannot cope samsaric problems or human problems or society problems. You cannot cope your life, and you be irresponsible, or for you is samsaric values like high, good reputation, and how to say, the high social status, and incredible wealth, relationship, all of them is not meaning for you anymore. You have something more meaningful. That is very different. That is not selfish. Do you know why? The transformation comes from your heart and your mind. You have determined to liberate all sentient beings. Is not you have to help them now. You can start now and you go orphanages and help homeless people, and you can do many things. You can do many things, but that doesn't, solve the whole world problem. Something, this is inner transformation and long-term benefit, something big vision. When people go and run everywhere try to do something, one way is good heart and sensitive, see other people suffering, helping, kindness, all good. But it's not necessarily big long vision. That's why you can't say somebody gone in the cave preparing big transformation, or somebody a little transformation, almost no transformation, but little kindness practice every day. They're both good, but it's a different way of good. So why people can think this is not so good, going in the cave, selfish? Because they didn't distinguish. You are running away the problems, or the good things not valuable for you anymore. They didn't distinguish that. And of course, everybody running in a cave doesn't mean they have guarantee the good one. Some people run away because they didn't understood. They also don't distinguish. So that means why go to run in the cave? Because then you save a lot of time and energy. But if you have to stay here and keep house and many things, then you have less time and energy, and more responsibilities, distracting the main focus. But that doesn't mean everybody have to go cave, because depend who you are, where you at, how much you can cope. You can cope the physical harshness even we can't cope with if you are, get used. So let's say, can I go in a cave now? I don't think so. I cannot, because I cannot cope the physical harshness now. You guys, majority of you probably can't. We didn't have karma to run in the cave this life, probably. Some of the younger people, maybe. Okay. Understood? You don't have to agree, okay? But you have to understand the points. And then you don't have to agree with the points. Okay, what else? Yeah?
Well, you said that even your family can't change the path of your death and bardo rebirth, right? But
No.
sometimes I think family members can shift
How?
death process into something with help of others, perhaps. Yeah. I think-
How?
How? With the help of others. Like certain special people can shift, like doing poa or something.
Okay. Let's say somebody need $1 billion to build something. Is your $10 can change this how to say
Structure.
the situation? You can change or not? I mean, somebody need $1 billion to do something. Your $10 cannot achieve this. The only you can do, you can contribute. You can contribute, but you can't change it. This is not same. When we family members die and we try to do the best, it's contributing. Same thing. You thought the whole thing can change, regardless the karma. But let's say somebody need billion and only $10 missing, then you $10 donated, then looks like change it. But it's still not really, isn't it? That's we don't call change because the already these ones you contributed. You are just the last one. That's why it looks like you change it. But it's not you change it, everybody together change it. Same thing. Even somebody die, we did poa and incredible science and transform the body. Or looks like definitely change it. That means this person already, the other conditions already ready. So only you missing that, you fill the gap. So you have to understand this way. Okay? So that's why we cannot expect or completely change because somebody did prayer. So nowadays sometimes people say, especially Asians, oh, I have exam, so please prayer. Passed my exam, please prayer. I tell them, okay, I pray, but you, I can only, feel the gift. But if your gift is too big, many other ingredients needed, you can't. Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
Well, so if we look at, not saying that going into the cave is not the ultimate, but if we look at most of the stories of the great masters, they seem to do a combination of many things. Even if they go into retreat for quite a while of time, they also contribute text and teach people. And I mean, they've done many things. They didn't necessarily. There's not a lot of stories of the great master who spent their whole life in the cave. Is this just because we don't? They didn't teach, so we don't write it down, or?
Yeah, the whole life in the cave and to die. Yeah, that's very, very real, yes. The most of your life, Firstly, it's very real. Somebody doing in the cave, let's say. Yeah, Malariba is exceptional, but still Malariba seems like didn't do the whole life at the cave.
We wouldn't know about him.
Well,
There's some stories, he meet the geishis and then debate them, and so sometimes he seems like came home, not home, but they come to the society. But the most important time go to the cave is not when you are completely ignorant. You gotta have some knowledge and practice time. And then when you practice and you are incredibly stable and you become quite exceptional, and then you don't have to stay at home. Then you don't have to stay at home in the cave. So I tried to enter the forest. It's a similar cave. I didn't find a really cave, but I went, and then I realized my karma is not in the cave. I realized. I tried. It wasn't very hard at all. Physically, it's so easy because I was young. So easy. You don't need anything. You can sleep anywhere. Even in India, I had only, plastic bag inside. I have what do you call this? The grass, the grass for the.
Kusha?
Kusha grass?
No kusha, but in the farms. The hay, yes, hair. Hay. How do you spell?
Hay.
Hay.
Yeah.
Oh, hay. Only hay inside plastic.
Farm.
Plastic. Yeah, plastic bag. Only have that. No problem. I didn't have even a tent for the mosquito. If I have tent for mosquito, that's perfect. But in Tibet, I went and even snow and everything, no problem. I think anybody want to go cave, you should go when you're younger. Physically, maybe a little bit difficult for you, but I think is not too hard. You get used. People get used very quickly. So nowadays, I go to bed or India, somewhere, no sitting toilet. Seems like from beginning it's no possible. What I'm going to do it, but then you just force and try, and in a few weeks, then okay. Yeah, I'm not teaching Dharma, I know. Okay, so any more? Yes.
Rinpoche, to get back to your example you used of being at the airport and you had a ticket and you decided whether to use the phone number or your visa and your passport. A passport expires in 10 years and a ticket is only good for one journey.
Yes.
And there's been beginningless time.
Yes.
And the mental afflictions are very powerful. And the future is infinite. So that ticket and that passport will both expire after the next life.
Yeah.
And you have a great burden and karmic debt of your afflictions.
Mm.
And if we lose the continuity of the thread of practicing Dharma by our afflictions as we move out into time, What a great loss. Could you speak to that going forward into time?
When I say passport and somebody you met in the airport, very nice person, that's only analogy. Say, if you are this person's contact phone number or email or something is nice, if you don't have to sacrifice your passport and ticket. But if you have to, you wouldn't, yeah? Would you? I don't think so. I'm knowledge and only that. Okay? And that I give example, for instance, when we family and yourself is more practical if you are genuine, because you want this ticket, the passport, you don't want that means you sacrifice, means you have to stay. You have ticket but you don't want to go. You sacrifice ticket, so you just only this person is nice, so you have to stay there. This person is nice, you have good contact, but you have no guarantee, incredible future relationship or anything. You have no guarantee. That's why you not sacrifice this. You go, continue your ticket and passport. That's what I'm saying. So when you are sure your spiritual journey, number one important, then family, everything becomes secondary. That's what I'm saying. But when you are not sure, then why you disconnect your family, everything for silly reasons? You wouldn't. That's what I'm saying. You get it?
Well, I get it. I think my question is like, we're going to have many, many lives. It's going to keep going. And the worry is if we lose this thread, if we're going to be reborn under the power of our afflictions, if we're born under the power of our afflictions, we can lose the thread of the Dharma.
So?
And this would be a great loss.
Yes. That's why yourself is important. You can change your karma. But you cannot change your family's karma. Can you? That makes sense?
Yes, that makes sense. I guess maybe I'm not...
You want to know how to guarantee you're not losing it?
The continuity to continue. I think that the risk that sentient beings suffer, if we look at the analogy of how many sentient beings will take a lower rebirth and how many will take a higher rebirth, if we look at the analogy that Guru Tsongkhapa explains, it's incredible. All of the dust and the earth will be lower rebirths. And
so, I don't get the point.
I think do you want to know how you can make sure that you have a rebirth with the continuity?
Yes, but it's lifetime after lifetime to keep that thread going, because what is in front of us, what we all hold, is beginningless time of karma.
So you're wondering though how to make sure that you guarantee.
But it's not only the next lifetime. That's why I use the analogy of the passport only expiring and the ticket expiring.
Yeah, but if you focus...
Yeah, but we're not talking about tickets expire or passport expire. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this one journey. You wouldn't ticket and passport, you wouldn't sacrifice them, because this is, you have kind of, we sure this journey, I have this journey. But this person, you have no guarantee.
Right, this is the person, the wife and family is not my point.
I think the point is you're worried about how do we make sure that we can create the karmic propensities to stay on the path through enlightenment,
All the way to enlightenment.
And
So Rinpoche,
would be the one about the enlightened, having a limitless aspiration and stronger karmic propensities. Basically, he wants to know how to make sure that life after life, until he reaches enlightenment, he stays on the path.
Haven't bodhicitta. If you have bodhicitta, you have guaranteed enlightenment. Never go worse. Always better. Why? Because bodhicitta motivate the limitless best. So then cannot go worse, impossible. Regardless how long take, regardless how slow or fast, is guaranteed. Not guarantee, like in different way. When we say guaranteed, it sounds like strange, but logically guaranteed. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this family, these things I'm talking about just temporary priorities. I'm talking about that, the ticket and those things. I'm not talking about something enlightenment. Yeah. Because what we come from is we said, what about the death? I said, forget about enlightenment.
Yeah.
But this death, this part though, is that prioritized for you or something you live and go, like family, wealth, and, many things. Which one is important for you? Yeah. Then I suggest the most important, my life journey, preparing death, pardo. Pardo. Yeah, in my book, or how to practice. And also we have Shambhala prayers. Today we read, then we also know Shambhala. If you read Shambhala prayers, then you should know how, where we are now, where we at, and what we do. How many options? Yeah, Shambhala prayer, a Shambhala book, or should tell us this. In Pardo and these ones, they tell another aspect, way of telling. What happened? Did you read the book? The break?
Yes.
How's now?
I need to think more.
Okay. Okay. Everybody understood? Ranton and Janton. Is it clear now? You not say yes, you not say no, so.
Not committing.
Huh?
No commitment.
What did you learn? Anything? This time? What did you new learn this time? Nothing? Huh?
I learned that I know so little.
Okay, you learned so little.
I learned that I know so little that I need to
Oh, okay.
learn to understand. The one question that comes up to me is, and how does all of this knowledge about different emptiness and all that, this sounds like it's all an intellectual exercise, and it doesn't seem that it would inform my own meditation. How does that inform my own meditation?
So
today at where I am today
is
now.
everything you do and what is you value isn't best everything your perspective?
Pardon me?
Anything you, what is your value? How to say?
Something you value. Everything you value in life is based on your perspective, right? Like you value this over that because of your perspective. Yeah.
Is it? You agree?
Well, if I'm conscious, yes, but a lot of things that I do is not based on anything. It's just based on
Habits.
routine.
Whether, we're not talking about whether your perspective is right or wrong. Regardless, right or wrong, superior or inferior, good or bad. Everything we do based on our perspective.
Yeah, but what I was trying to get to is that when I sit in meditation, how does the sitting in which I do, sit in meditation every day, how does that influence my meditation, whether I know about emptiness or not?
Okay.
How does that?
What you do with meditation now every day based on what?
On the fact that that I value the space that it creates in my life.
Yes. So either you believe or you experienced this meditation makes differences in my peace of mind.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this emptiness, we negation, we think everything is illusion. If you have that as perspective, today you have that perspective, tonight this area collapse, whole thing, what do? You just scared and scream?
Or do I look at it as an
What we should do? We should scare and scream, and or we should be angry, upset. What we should do? So what we should do is, these 2 days we're talking about everything is illusion. So now it doesn't matter what happened, it's illusion anyway. We should think that. Or even you didn't really 100% understood still, that's the only value we have now. But if you have a little understood, it makes sense, then okay, now the time to use it. And also anything, not that dramatic, you're going to die now, but is anything you don't like, anything you have perceptions you cannot deal with, you can use other methods, but if it didn't work, this is one option you can use.
I totally get what you're saying, because when I get home tonight and I'm exhausted and my husband needs me to care for him, and I have the option to care for him, well, I have to care for him, but how I do it, I can look at it as an illusion and care for him in a compassionate way, or I can get upset because I'm tired and I don't want to do it anymore.
I think you don't want to care for this, you don't need illusion. You don't need to use this illusion. Something is optional. When we have no option, that time you really, this is the only option we have.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
Yes. I suggest that time. Of course, you can exercise the other times, but the real use is that time.
No option.
Okay, that's one thing. This also, I want to tell you that, I want to tell you, but I forgot. So when we meditate, when you understand, when we try to discuss this illusion, everything, you understood this, that time when you use the meditation, you use this. Like let's say, normally if you just meditate, breathing in, breathing out, okay, empty of mind, no thoughts, nothing. If you do this, yeah, now you change. What do you need to change? First, thinking. Take refuge from your Buddha nature. The internal Buddha, your own Buddha nature, and the external manifestation of Buddha Shakyamuni and any other Buddha Kalachakra, doesn't matter. Take refuge from them and motivate. This my meditation is going to be contribution of reaching my own Buddha nature for the purpose to liberate all sentient beings. Think of that first, conceptually. Then when you're ready to go to the non-conceptual state, then you remember all these illusions and these arguments and everything, try to remember conceptually. Either you go through long process or short process, up to you. And then, when you meditate, not thinking only just, no thoughts, try to stop thoughts, and not like only that. And instead, this is the Buddha nature, like that kind of, you don't have to mental chat for you on the head, but you just feel this is Buddha nature. Or at least, or illusion. Yeah, because illusion, then if I don't grasp it, and then it's nothing. So you use that as much as possible. Then your meditation power is changed. Power means, don't expect immediate power. If you have immediate power, that's incredible fortune for you. But that also not necessarily consistent. Just remember impermanence. But in long term, this is totally different. You meditate only just stopping thoughts, or you understand the illusion. You understand the Buddha nature. With this understanding, this kind of feeling, and then you stay with that. Remind you that again and again. Whenever your thoughts comes, just remember back that. That means you try to familiarization. You make a familiarization. Either conceptual way and non-conceptual way. If you can do that, then what is a God familiarization? Is when you have problems, no other solution, that time you automatically remember, automatically comes. You go at that state. So even Guru Yoga, first we express gratitude and qualities, remind that the teacher is emanation of Buddha, everything. But finally, we say, mix with the Guru and your mind, which means basically you mix in with your own Buddha nature. So that's why the most important is the silent in the Guru Yoga after the 4 empowerments. You can stay there as long as you want. If you can stay able very well, you can stay there an hour, no problem. 2 hours, 3 hours, no problem. If it's not so powerful, or you have to go, or whatever, you already prioritize you into this practice, then you can stay 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. But at least 2 seconds prior to stop, they're silent. With this kind of understanding. Yeah, this is very important. Let's say the most beloved one died, and you cannot cope with anything, you cannot cope with these situations. Can you do that? But how much you can do it, how effective it is, depends on how much you regularly do. How much familiarization you already made. Okay. Anything else?
Take a short break.
Huh?
Break.
Oh yes, break, please. We have break and then